Welcome to the Viewpoints Proposition Roundtable for the 2010 November 2nd election. I'm here with, I'm Viewpoints Editor-in-Chief Stephanie Holland. I'm here with Opinions Editor Sonia Eide and Features Editor Sharday Perry. We're going to be discussing some of the major propositions that will be on the ballot this year. We're going to start off with what is probably the most controversial, Proposition 19, which is the proposition to legalize marijuana under California law but not federal law. Basically, this would allow for people who are 21 years or older to possess, grow, or transport marijuana for personal use. A lot of people who are for this think that it's going to really help out the state financially because they will begin to tax it and there'll be funding coming in from it. But of course there are those who are against it because marijuana is a drug and they don't think this is the way to go. So Sonia, you are supporting Proposition 19.
Well, obviously if we're in a really bad financial situation right now. We need to find alternative methods to help get out of this debt. And I think that if we legalize marijuana, it'll definitely help with the budget crisis. We tax it and we'll get a lot more money and we can use that to end some of our problems. And it'll also cut off funding towards violent drug dealers. And it can we can stop putting people in jail for nonviolent crimes and crowding our jails with, you know, a bunch of people who only happen to have like an ounce of marijuana on them or something like that. That's not, I think that like if we have such a big problem with overcrowding of jails, then we shouldn't be putting people in there just for having marijuana. And I think it'll generate the economy here. Definitely.
Sharday, you are against Proposition 19.
First and foremost, I just want to say, as far as the whole crime thing and being able to take attention off that and focus on other things, I think it's going to backfire. I think it's going to be the exact opposite. They're going to be so nitpicky with the marijuana, and you can only have so much on you. You can only smoke in certain places. You can't smoke around, I think it's like 15 yards away from anyone that's a minor. And now it's going to be like, okay, well, if you're in a car smoking, that's illegal. If you're standing on the street smoking, that's illegal because who's all around you. So I completely think that's going to backfire. As far as the budget thing, what people don't realize is marijuana, although it's a drug, you're not going to make much money off of because the law saying you can grow it. I think it's like 25 grams that you can grow. Although given it's really hard to grow, the prices are going to increase as far as the distribution centers and I guess you can't call them drug dealers anymore because it's going to be legalized. People are just going to start growing it themselves. So we're losing money in that. And I was also looking up different things, and it's saying some of the pros for that is marijuana isn't as an effective drug as, say, alcohol or tobacco, but 4 and 14% of drivers that are injured or car crashes have been tested for THC, which is found in marijuana. Now, if we legalize it, more and more people are going to smoke it, more and more people are going to be stupid, are going to drive, and it's going to increase the accidents, it's going to increase the insanity, the mindset. So I completely think it's going to backfire. It's idiocracy.
Well, a poll was just released recently to show, it was a poll done by the LA Times and USC, and while the proposition had support early on, now it's showing that people are opposing it 51% to 39%. So, Sonia, do you think that some of the points that Sharday made are starting to be more recognized and people are starting to see, hey, maybe it's not going to be the answer that we all thought it would be?
I guess so, but I would say like 0 deaths per year have been recorded because of marijuana use. So it's definitely a safer drug than what we have legalized now, alcohol. And I think it certainly could be an unorthodox answer to, you know, all our prayers here, and we certainly need to be searching for alternative methods. So I don't think that marijuana is as bad as people say it is, and I think we should try it out, honestly.
Sharday, what do you say to the people who say that California has always sort of been like at the forefront of new ideas. It's sort of a groundbreaking state, and legalizing marijuana is something that could be looked at as other states by, you know, outside of the box thinking in a way to solve some of their financial problems.
I think it is true. California is the first to do things, but you have to realize we're in a debt. We're in a crap load of trouble because we are the first to do things. So I think we should maybe take a stand from that and learn from our lessons. You know, I was listening to what Sonia was saying, and she was saying, you know, it's not that bad. It's not as bad as other drugs. Like, do you hear what's coming out of your mouth? It's not that bad as other drugs. It's a drug regardless. I don't understand why there's a question, why it's even being questioned.
Well, I think what people think is that marijuana is not on the same level as, say, you know, cocaine or crack or heroin or OxyContin or any of the other drugs.
That's like saying, okay, murder, it's just the all-time crime, murder. So if I stab someone, if I like cut someone's leg up, that's okay. It's not as bad as murder. Like, listen to what we're saying. We're not stupid. We have a bunch of intelligent people in California. The fact that we're questioning this makes other states look at us like, what are they thinking?
Sonia, do you have any last thoughts on Proposition 19?
Well, look, we have plenty of legalized medications that have, like, a ton of side effects and terrible things that can happen, and marijuana has been shown to, like, doesn't really do anything harmful to you in terms of, what about, if we look at, like, alcohol or something, you can get kidney disease, and, like, marijuana doesn't have necessarily, like, you don't get addicted to it, per se, as you would with alcohol. And maybe it's a good drug, like, I know, and it's been used medically.
Okay.
It doesn't seem to me that it's that bad.
I think you just proved my case right now. It's proved it's used medically, it's helpful, and it's good for certain things. So why do we need to legalize it for people that don't need it medically to use it? People can get medical cards if they're sick enough to the point they need it. I don't understand why we need to open it to someone who's not sick. If that's what it's for, if it's not going to hurt you, and that's what it's used for, why not keep it to that?
Well, what I think is, regardless of whether you are supporting this or whether you're against this, this proposition is probably going to be one that's going to be very hotly debated right up until November 2nd. And I think the outcome will end up being very close. Whether it passes or it gets shot down, I think it's going to be one of the closer propositions that we're going to see. Before we move on to our next proposition, I just want to note that the views that we're expressing on the roundtable, they're not necessarily ours. We've chosen to take the pro and con stance on certain propositions so that the full view is covered.